So, Merry Christmas, family. So, today our Christmas's pagan hit list is going to shrink drastically as we are stepping on the necks and debunking every single pagan god that people have ever said to have been born of a virgin birth or on December the 25th. So, today we're taking no prisoners and we're showing no favoritism to anybody. Everybody can get it. So, let's get into it. So, we have already debunked the false beliefs that Christmas is a copy of Saturnalia, which was only from the 17th to the 23rd of December, and Sol Invictus in previous videos. So go check those out. I also upset a lot of you by proving that Jeremiah 10 has nothing to do with a tree, or especially a Christmas tree. It was a satirical discussion comparing the false idol gods made from the wood of a tree to Yahweh, who is the living God. Far too many of you persisted in believing the lie, but that's okay. Life's tough, get a helmet. Or, in the words of Jasmine Sullivan, pick up your feelings, because today is not going to get any better. So, first up on the hit list is Horus. That's right, an ancient Egyptian deity. Horus is usually depicted as a falcon and at times considered god of the sun, war, and protection. Generally considered the son of Osiris and Iris, and often depicted with the head of a hawk or a falcon. So, in reading Egyptian literature, we will see that there are approximately 4 different versions of Horus, but for the purposes of this particular presentation, we will only focus on Horus the Younger, who was said to be the child of Isis and Osiris. Now, the claim is often made that Horus was born of a virgin, but I'm going to show you evidence that actually Horus's father, Osiris, was killed and dismembered and his body parts cast into a river. And Isis retrieved his genitals and then inseminated herself in order to get pregnant. I promise you, you can't make this stuff up. Well, I guess you can. And this is the virgin birth that y'all say predated Mary and Jesus. You don't believe me? Okay, well look, here's proof. So, this source demonstrates that Seth got a hold of Osiris's body and cut it up into 14 different parts and scattered them all throughout Egypt. Isis finds all the body parts except for the god's penis because Seth had thrown it into a river and it was eaten by fish. So what does she do? She fashions a substitute penis and puts it in its place and has sex with Osiris's substitute penis and miraculously conceives of Harpocrates, which is another name for Horus. Osiris is then brought back to life, which some people ignorantly call a resurrection, that he is made king of the underworld. Now, family, I would say that you cannot make this stuff up, but clearly you can. So here are 2 more sources that demonstrate that there are papyri showing Isis hovering above Osiris's substitute penis and he is revived long enough to impregnate his wife. And another 2 sources coming from Egyptologists saying the same thing. Now, I want to be charitable, but I am truly questioning the sanity of anyone who believes that Jesus' virgin birth was copied from this, or that Horus's birth could even be considered a virgin birth in the first place. So, next up is Mithra, the god who stood for societal structure based purely on relationships or contracts between persons. He was the guardian of truth and thought to be responsible for the bringing of rain, vegetation, and health. Now, there was actually a Roman and an Iranian version of Mithra, but most of us are more familiar with the Roman version. And the leading scholars of Mithraism contend that most of what we know about Mithra is based on more conjecture than fact because most of the sacred books regarding Mithra have not survived. Yet, there is the contention that Mithra was born of a virgin on December 25th. So, the world's leading scholar on Mithraism, his name is Franz Kumot, and he contends that though there is some indication that Mithra was associated with December 25th, which was the time of the winter solstice, yet Mithra was not born of a virgin. But yes, you read it right, he was born out of solid rock. Now, I know Jesus said if we don't praise him that the rocks would cry out, but that's about as close as we get to a parallel in this particular story. So, Gary Lease adds that, quote, after almost 100 years of unremitting labor, the conclusion appears inescapable that neither Mithraism nor Christianity proved to be an obvious and direct influence upon the other in the development and demise or survival of either religion. Their beliefs and practices are well accounted for by their most obvious origins, and there is no need to explain one in terms of the other, end quote. So, that's 2 down. Now, next up is Dionysus, the god of wine, sensuality, and experience. Now, if you thought Isis and the substitute penis was wild, just wait on this one. So, Dionysus' mother, Semele, was impregnated by Zeus when he took the form of a lightning bolt. Now, when Semele dies after being tricked by Hera, Zeus picked up Dionysus and sewed him into his thigh until he was ready to be on his own. I mean, I guess that's better than being a deadbeat dad, but sheesh, come on, y'all. There are two other stories attributed to Dionysus, but neither one of them comes close to anything resembling a virgin birth or December 25th. Just a bunch of more fornicating from Zeus. So, that's 3 down. So, our fourth victim on the hit list is Krishna, an Indian deity worshipped as the 8th incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu. So first, let's dispel the notion that the name Krishna has anything to do with Christ. There is absolutely no etymological connection between Krishna and Christ. Christ is a Greek word, which is the equivalent of the Hebrew word for Messiah. Krishna is an unrelated personal name, which means black, dark, or dark blue. So, was Krishna born on December 25th of a virgin birth? Well, no. Not only is there no evidence of this, but Hindu websites claim that Krishna was born on 19 July 3228 BCE. Furthermore, Krishna's mother, Devaki, was far from a virgin. Devaki birthed out a whole 7 babies before Krishna was born.
Those childbearing hips. Baby popped right out. Go to Weezer. Pop, go to Weezer, cause the Weezer say pop.
Listen, man, how y'all get a virgin birth from that, fam? So, look, 4 down. So, next up is Buddha, the spiritual teacher of South Asia who lived during the latter half of the first millennium BCE. Now, not only was Buddha born on the 8th day of the lunar 4th month, which would fall between April or May, maybe even June in a leap year, but the biography of Buddha was not written until the 2nd century, a whole 100 years after Jesus' life, fam. Edward Thomas's In the Life of the Buddha asserts that Buddha descended from the Tusita by his own choice, and with this his father is not concerned. Now this might be evidence of parthenogenesis, but not a virgin birth. So, well, that's 5 out of 6. Maybe Attis can come and save the day. So, Attis is a vegetation god, and in his self-mutilation, death, and resurrection, he represents the fruits of the earth, which die in winter only to rise again in the spring. Well, let us put this one to bed real quick, okay? So, once again, Zeus's super sperm comes to the rescue. In this story, Zeus dropped some of his seed on the mountain because he thought it looked like the god Rhea. Now, side note, I don't know if that says something about the mountain or about Rhea, but anyway, this seed creates a wild creature named Attis, who the gods don't like. So Dionysus plays some trickery to get him to castrate himself, and from the resulting blood, a tree springs up, and much later, Nana happens by, picks some of the fruits, puts it in her lap, and then it disappears, upon which she finds herself pregnant with Attis. Virgin birth? Yeah, no. So, like Michael Jordan in the finals, we are 6 for 6 on the hit list, fam. And I mean, come on, bro. Come on, fam. Y'all have trouble believing the virgin birth in the Bible, but y'all believe in the substitute penis, parthenogenesis, getting pregnant by putting fruit in your lap, and you can still be a virgin after your mama done already had 7 other kids. These are the stories that y'all think Jesus' incarnation was copied from? Come on, fam. Let's get real. So I think we can confidently see that we have demonstrated more than ample proof that the first 9 of our hit list have been successfully eliminated. So, are y'all ready to give up on this Christmas is pagan foolishness yet? I know you're not. And then, yeah, that's all right. But y'all are going to look at all of the evidence right in the face and say that we are wrong and still not provide one source in the process. And that is why us Christian apologists are going to keep pulling out source after source after source to keep proving y'all arguments wrong until people stop believing this foolishness. So, next up is this fallacy that birthday celebrations are pagan. So, until next time, we'll see you. God bless, Merry Christmas, and I love you.